So, in our discussion related to India and ASEAN and Southeast Asia, yet another interesting topic is the Mekong Ganga Cooperation, MGC. Mekong Ganga Cooperation or MGC. So, we are trying to bring in a cultural component or cultural content into the India-ASEAN relations. In fact, during the Cold War era, our relationship with the Southeast Asian countries were not so good because of the ideological differences. So, once we started looking towards improving the relationship, now we wanted to catch up. By this time, already China was a big player in this region. To catch up with China, we wanted to bring in some cultural components, some emotional aspects, some people-to-people contact, all these things we wanted to bring into focus. That is how this idea of Mekong Ganga Cooperation idea emerged. In fact, this grouping was launched in November 2000 at Vientiane, the capital of Laos. Vientiane, the capital of Laos, in 2000, when the ministers representing 6 Asian countries, so 6 members, Mekong Ganga Cooperation MGC has 6 members. So, let us not forget MGC has 6 members. Who are those 6 members? Now, that is a question. Of course, India, then the rest Southeast Asian countries in this region. Who are they? The Myanmar, Thailand, then Laos, Cambodia and Vietnam. Laos, Cambodia and Vietnam. So, very interestingly, when you look from India toward the east, the only missing country here is Bangladesh. Bangladesh is not included in this Mekong Ganga Cooperation. It was specifically India on one side and the ASEAN countries, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Myanmar and Thailand. So, one interesting and important point you should remember is Bangladesh is not involved in it. Then, these ministers signed the Vientiane Declaration, which outlines the basic theme of cooperation and charts the future course of rapid economic development in the Mekong region country. So, the focus is on cooperation for rapid economic growth and we are bringing in a cultural component into that. So, the theme, so please note, the theme is rapid economic growth or rapid economic development. That is the outline or the Vientiane Declaration was talking about that. So, that there has to be better cooperation for rapid economic development. Also, it wanted to facilitate interstate movement, rapid economic growth, that is one aspect of it. Another is interstate movement. Among the 6 countries, how to increase the movement, the transport, the transit and transport of goods and people. So, interstate movement of goods and people. Okay, goods and people in the region. Also, active participation in poverty eradication. Now, another area is participate because these are some of the poorest countries in the world. Even in India has a lot of poverty. Laos, Cambodia, all of them, Myanmar, all are considered to be one of the poorest in the world. So, active participation in poverty eradication. Active participation in poverty eradication. Then, also, these are one of the poorest in terms of infrastructure. So, create necessary infrastructure facilities. So, improved infrastructure. So, how to increase or improve the infrastructure in the region so that the people can be benefited. So, in the entire Mekong region, Mekong Basin area, one of the poorest of the places in the world. So, we would like to cooperate in rapid economic growth, interstate movement of goods and people, poverty eradication, infrastructure development, etc. That is where then tourism, culture, how, and not only this is the aim. So, we would like to have an added focus on tourism, cultural contacts or exchange of culture, tourism, culture, then human resource development, HRD, human resource development, because there are a lot of poverty, a lot of lack of education. So we need to really develop the human resource of the region, human resource in the region. So these three were identified as the first steps in helping in increasing or improving the economic development of this region. So tourism, culture and the HRD development were identified as the first steps to have a greater network of communication, transport, infrastructure, etc. So these were identified the three areas to increase the cooperation. So the Vientiane Declaration committed the member countries to develop transport network, the east-west corridor. See, right from Vietnam to India, from Ganga to the Mekong, that region, an east-west corridor, east-west transport corridor, and also talks about Trans-Asian Highway. Trans-Asian Highway development. So, and members wanted to speed up the east-west corridor as well as the Trans-Asian Highway development, so that there can be improved transport and communication between the six member countries. Now, coming to an analysis of this. See, first of all, as I was mentioning earlier, India wanted to catch up. So there is a lost 30-40 years during the Cold War era. We did not concentrate on the Southeast Asian country, especially the mainland. So we wanted to catch up. Already China was having a big presence. We want to catch up and counter or rather to stand up against the Chinese influence in this region. First of all, this is to counterbalance China's influence. So this Mekong Ganga cooperation helps India in counterbalance China's influence. Counterbalance China's influence in the region. Because China is far ahead of India in this region, we lost out because of the ideological issue, the non-aligned movement and the problems associated subsequently the Cold War era. So we lost out. China was far ahead, especially in its relationship with Vietnam, with Laos, with Cambodia, with Myanmar. Because with Myanmar, because of the military rule, we did not have any contact with them for many years, many decades. We did not have any relationship with them. So China was far ahead, so it can counterbalance China, number one. And also, this should be, in fact, with this Mekong Ganga cooperation, India is playing that geostrategic game. So this is part of our larger geostrategic game which we are playing in Southeast Asia. Naturally, because we are not doing charity in this region, we know China is a strategic competitor, we have to do something. So it's part of our larger geostrategic game, and we are we are playing, or rather we are utilizing our historic relationship, cultural relationship. We are using our historic, cultural, then religious connections in this region, because most of these countries are Buddhist followers. Countries have substantial Buddhist followers. So, and we have a relationship in this region from time immemorial. The culture of this region is closely linked to Indian culture. What was Greece to Europe is what India is to Southeast Asian countries, especially the mainland region. So, we would like to exploit this historic relation, then the cultural relationship, the religious relationship, and we want to link this in the context of this Mekong Ganga region. So we are trying to exploit that relationship among because this is a civilization. See, is a the Gangetic civilization, the civilization along this region, Mekong region, another civilization we can say. So we would like to exploit that historic relationship, and also this linkages. Now another point I would like to add here is the linkage by India with these 5 member countries, and if we can improve our relationship with these MCG countries, Mekong MGC countries, we can have a better say in the overall ASEAN setup, because 5 members from the mainland, if they are more friendly to India, we can increase our influence with improved relationship with MGC countries. We can increase our hold in ASEAN. So these countries will act as as a cushion, or rather they will help us in improving our relationship with the rest of the ASEAN countries also, because many a times Malaysia, Singapore and all are a bit more matter of fact countries. They may not be emotionally attached to India. So these countries can be their emotion. This Mekong Ganga cooperation, MGC countries' emotions can be well utilized for improving our relationship. And also, but most importantly, I would like to say, ultimately everything depends on connectivity. For that, this Trans-Asian Highway, East-West Corridor and all should be developed properly. We are struggling with our road connectivity, we know it very well, whether it is trilateral highway, whether it is the Kaladan project. In most of this, we are not able to fulfill the promises which we are given, and this can also play a very crucial role in the economic development of northeastern states. We need to have connectivity, and it can play a very crucial role in the development and progress of Northeast India. Development and progress of Northeast India. So this MGC, the Mekong Ganga cooperation, is a wonderful idea. It can help in improving the bilateral, our connectivity with this region, economic development of Northeast India, we can increase our influence in the Asian countries. Most importantly, we can checkmate and counterbalance China in this region. So great geostrategic step. It is not just an economic step, it's not just a cultural step, it is a great geostrategic step taken by India in the overall context of the India's relationship with the rest of the world. So recently also, last year also, in Bangkok, the 10th Mekong MGC meeting, Mekong Ganga cooperation ministerial meeting was held in Bangkok in August 2019 at Bangkok. So this is a great, it is not a small step, it is not just a cultural thing, it is a great geostrategic step by India with larger vision in mind.